Standard Chinese and Modular Approach. Resource Module on Pronunciation and Romanization. Tape 5. This tape will take up several abbreviations in pinyin spelling, a new vowel, and a new consonant. Display 1 contains 3 cases of abbreviation. Listen to the speaker read the surnames in the first row.
An, Hun, Hun.
Listen again and notice that they rhyme.
An, Hun, Hun.
Each of these syllables clearly has the vowel sound but the last one is spelled without an E. We've supplied the E in the version in brackets to reflect the pronunciation. Notice, by the way, that the tone mark has wound up on the U, the only surviving vowel letter. Now listen to the names in the second row.
Fei, Wei, Gui.
Listen again, they rhyme.
Fei, Wei, Gui.
Here, you'd expect G-U-E-I, since the A sound is spelled E-I, but in fact there is no E. Notice that the tone mark has shifted to the I, the last vowel letter. Now listen to the last row.
Hou, You, Liu.
Listen again. Except for the tone, they rhyme.
Hou, You, Liu.
Here you'd expect L-I-O-U, since the sound O is spelled O-U, but in fact there's no O. Notice that the tone mark is shifted to the U, the last vowel letter. We've been treating these spellings simply as abbreviations, but in fact they make some kind of phonetic sense. It happens that vowels often have a slightly different quality in the first and second tone than in the third and fourth, and in each of these cases the abbreviated spelling is suggestive of the first and second tone pronunciation. For example, listen to the pairs of names in display 2.
You, You. Liu, Liu.
Perhaps you'll agree that you hear something approaching a simple U sound after the semivowel in the first and second tone names, so that the spelling without the O might be better for both of them. Listen again and notice that the pairs don't quite rhyme.
You, You. Liu, Liu.
Now listen to the speaker read down the columns. This way you may better hear the rhymes.
You, Liu. You, Liu.
Again.
You, Liu. You, Liu.
Display 3 presents a slightly different kind of abbreviation. Listen to the speaker read the names.
Wo, Luo, Mo.
Listen again and notice that they rhyme. All 3 end in wo.
Wo, Luo, Mo.
In this case, the semivowel is not written after M. There's no U. The same goes after other consonants involving the lips, B, P, and F. The theory seems to be that the lip involvement of M, B, P, and F is sufficient to suggest the lip rounding of the semivowel without writing U. Now try reading the names in exercise 1 and repeat after the speaker. 1, 2,
1,
3,
Wei,
4,
Gui.
5,
You,
6,
Liu.
7,
Luo,
8,
Mo.
9,
Lun,
10,
Niu.
11,
Rui,
12,
Bo.
13,
Cui,
14,
Chun,
15.
Qiu.
Exercise 2 is a dictation exercise. Fill in the blanks, repeating as you do so. 1.
One.
W-E. 2.
One.
H-U. 3.
贵.
U-I. 4.
位.
W-E-I. 5.
卧.
W-O. 6.
落.
W-O. 7.
流.
I-U. 8.
有.
Y-O-U. 9.
贵.
U-I. 10.
卧.
W-O. 11.
婚.
H-U. 12.
位.
W-E-I. 13.
落.
U-O. 14.
弯.
W-E. 15.
有.
Y-O-U. 16.
流.
I-U. Display 4 introduces a new vowel. It's written as the letter U with 2 dots over it. For lack of a better term, let's use the German term umlaut for the accent mark and call the combination U umlaut. Listen to the speaker read the 3 names.
李. 鲁. 吕.
Again.
李. 鲁. 吕.
The reason for including the first 2 names in the display is that the new vowel written U umlaut combines features of the vowels written I and U. It has roughly the tongue position of the vowel sound E and roughly the lip position of the vowel sound U. If you pronounce the steady E sound and then round your lips into an U position without moving your tongue, you'll get the Y sound. Listen.
一鱼. 一鱼. 一鱼.
Try imitating the speaker. Move your lips but not your tongue.
一鱼. 一鱼. 一鱼.
The other way to get the Y position is to start in the U position and then move your tongue into the E position without moving your lips. Listen.
乌鱼. 乌鱼. 乌鱼.
Try imitating the speaker. Move your tongue but not your lips.
乌鱼. 乌鱼. 乌鱼.
Now try repeating the names in display 4. For the last name, have your tongue bunched forward as if for E and your lips rounded as if for U.
李. 鲁. 吕.
Again.
李. 鲁. 吕.
Let's make sure that you can hear the difference between these 3 vowels. In exercise 3, circle the appropriate romanization for each name, repeating as you do so. Then I'll give you the name with the right vowel letter. 1.
吕.
U umlaut. 2.
李.
I. 3.
鲁.
U. 4.
吕.
U umlaut. 5.
吕.
U umlaut. 6.
里
I. 7.
里
I. 8.
鲁
U. 9.
吕
U umlaut. 10.
鲁
U. In exercise 4, try reading the names and repeat. 1,
里
2,
鲁
3,
吕
4,
鲁
5,
吕
6,
里
7,
鲁
8,
吕
9,
里
10,
吕
Now look at display 5. The first name actually consists of the U umlaut vowel by itself, but notice that it's written with the initial Y. The next three have the U umlaut vowel reduced to semivowel status. Again with Y written in the initial position. Listen.
鱼月圆云
Notice that what follows the semivowel in the last three is familiar. Listen again.
鱼月圆云
Try repeating after the speaker.
鱼月圆云
Again.
鱼月圆云
The pairs of names in display 6 compare the new combinations starting with the U umlaut semivowel with familiar combinations starting with semivowels you already know. Listen for the rhymes or near rhymes.
夜月完圆文云
Again.
夜月完圆文云
Repeat after the speaker.
夜月完圆文云
Again.
夜月完圆文云
Notice in the first pair that the letter E is pronounced E. In other words, the letter E has the sound value E after both semivowels pronounced with the tongue in the E position. The only other time it has this sound value is when it's followed by the sound E in the diphthong spelled EI and pronounced A. To the right of the second pair in the display, you'll see an alternate pair. Some speakers rhyme this way instead. Listen. Yen, yuan,
Again.
yen, yuan. For many speakers, the last pair rhymes. The pronunciation would be better represented by the spelling in the parentheses, with an E added, for the S sound. For many speakers, however, this pair doesn't rhyme. The pronunciation is well represented by the actual spelling Y, U umlaut, A, N. We put the umlaut accent mark over the U's in display 5, but actual pinyin spelling doesn't. After a Y, a U couldn't stand for anything but the U umlaut sound, and so pinyin doesn't bother to add the two dots. The same goes after the palatal consonants written J, Q, and X. Since these consonants pronounced with the tongue in the E position occur only before vowels pronounced with the tongue in the E position, namely E and E, or their semi-vowel equivalents, you know that a U after a J, Q, or X must mean U umlaut. Just to be helpful, though, we'll write the umlaut for you every time in the early part of this course. But just to get an idea of how the system works, try reading the names in exercise 5. Pronouncing the letter U with the sound value U after Y and the palatal consonants written J, Q, and X, and then repeating after the speaker. 1.
树
2.
素
3.
序
4.
无
5.
鱼
6.
组
7.
竹
8.
菊
9.
雏
10.
渠
11.
木
12.
鱼
13.
菊
14.
渠
15.
徐
The only time Pinyin does write the umlaut accent marks is after two initial consonants, L and N. If you look back at display 4 and the two exercises that follow it, you'll see that both the sound U and the sound Y can follow L. And so the umlaut has to be written to distinguish Y from U. The same is true after N. In exercise 6, we've gone back to our helpful spelling. Try reading the names and repeat after the speaker. 1.
树
2.
素
3.
序
4.
圈
5.
双
6.
春
7.
君
8.
月
9.
雀
10.
驴
11.
炉
12.
鱼
13.
菊
14.
圆
15.
泉
16.
云
So far, we've only had two final consonant sounds, the ones written N and NG. We've held back one final consonant sound that has a rather special status in the Chinese sound system, final R. There's a sense in which final R only belongs in syllables spelled ER, such as the number 2, which appear in display 7. Listen.
二 二 二
This happens to be a poor example because many speakers pronounce the number 2 with the vowel A, R. But most of them pronounce other syllables spelled ER, the way you just heard. There's nothing hard about final R for most Americans. You can hear something very like Chinese ER in the proverb, to err is human. Try repeating after the speaker.
二 二 二
In addition to syllables of the shape ER, There are many cases in Standard Chinese where a word has the ending consisting of R alone, with the R attaching itself to the last syllable. This happens more often in some dialects of Standard Chinese than in others. An example from the orientation module is the word for where. Listen.
哪儿哪儿哪儿
The Chinese writing system treats this final R as a separate ER syllable, although the character is sometimes abbreviated and reduced in size. Sometimes the basic form of a syllable is changed considerably when R is attached. Here's an example. The second syllable you hear is the first syllable plus the R ending.
天天儿
Listen again and notice that the N drops out when the R is added.
天天儿
Listen once more and notice that the vowel changes when the R is added.
天天儿
Here's another example. Again, the second syllable is the first syllable plus the R ending.
名名儿
Listen again and notice that the NG sound drops out when the R is added, but leaves a nasal quality in the vowel.
名名儿
Listen once more and notice that the vowel sound sneaks in when the R is added.
名名儿
We won't work on these R finals now, because in most cases the pronunciation is simple and is obvious from the spelling, and because the cases where it is not are better handled on a case-by-case basis. This is the end of Tape 5 of the Resource Module on Pronunciation and Romanization.